All right, so we're creating this website, the tennis one. I've already had it created the HTML. I shouldn't have to walk you through the HTML by now. You can see that every project tends to be the same. The only difference is that whether nav is first or header is first. But other than that, you can see that we've been using the same basic section, HTML codes all the way through, and that allows your website to be very understandable to anyone looking at it. All right, I've already added some styles, so this is from the first lesson. I added this light blue and white for main, and I centered everything on the page. So now we're ready to go ahead and work on the rest of it. So let's bring up the page. And this is right here. All right, so nothing much has been styled. We got this light blue and everything else is centered. So now we're going to be working on the nav because that's the first HTML right after main. So we're going to have a nav and we want that to have a background color of blue. And so we'll do RGB and then it'll be 0, 0, 255 and semicolon. All right, and if we do a file, save all, and a refresh, which out of the way, there we go. But you can see I can't see anything because hyperlinks are blue also. So we can see that we need to get rid of some. We need to get rid of these dots. We need to move side by side, all that kind of good stuff. All right, well, we have we have 4 LIs. Let's go back to HTML, and we want these all to be side by side. So we're going to be using Flexbox for that. And in order to do that, we don't flex the LIs. We turn the UL into a flex container, and that flexes all the LIs. It's probably the hardest part for people to remember. All right, so we have nav UL, and we're going to display flex. And then file, save all, and refresh. And you can see now, I can't see it hardly, but they are side by side. There they are. And you can see that we still have those dots. We need to get rid of those dots also. And that's in the nav UL. So we're going to go ahead and do display, let's see, list, style, none, file, save all, refresh. And now they're gone. So, whoops. So we can see the stuff is, the stuff is there. Now you can be able to see it. Well, it's purple. Not much different than the blue. All right, so the next thing we need to do is work on the actual links themselves. Because remember, that's what really defines the button that we're going to create out of them. So we have a nav, whoops, ULLIA. So it's the anchor tag that we want to style. Its display right now by default is inline element, and we want to display it as a block because what we want to have it is display colon block. We want everything inside the A box to be clickable, not just the text inside the box. And then we needed to make it white, so we'll do color, and that is RGB, and that is 255, 255, 255. And if you wanted to type white there, nobody would make fun of you for doing so. And now when we do file, save all, and refresh, now we can actually see the links at least. And you can see they're side by side. All right. So the LI container is only as big as the text, and that's why it's all mooshed together. So we need to start moving that stuff away from each other. So let's just do padding. Oops, not perspective. Padding and let's do 20 pixels all the way around. File, save all, and refresh. Nice. So now it's looking a little bit better. Let's see. We want to make the text a little bit bigger. So let's do font size and make it 1.5 EM. So remember that's the size of 1.5 times the normal. So instead of 16, it'll be 24 point. There we go. And we want to get rid of that underline. So that'll be a text decoration. And that is none. And then file. Save all. And refresh. Good. Nicely played. So now you can see that that clickable is all the way around this, not just the text itself. And that's really what we want to do. All right, so the next thing we need to do is work on the header. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to do header. And again, we want to make that a flex container. So we're going to display flex. And we'll do file, save all, and refresh. Boom. Side by side, easy as pie. And the other thing we got to do, though, is we want to go ahead and center this here. And if we inspect this, we can see, let's take a look at the H1. Hello. So if we do header H1, you can see that when we flex it, it turns into an inline block element, and that is that it takes up only the size. So it's centered inside that box. The problem is the box is too small. We want to make the box bigger. And we want the box to be dependent upon the size of the container. So here we go. Let's do a header H1. And what we want to do is we want to do width, and we want to calculate it. Okay. And we want to start with 100% of the container. And we want to go ahead and subtract out. So we want to subtract out that picture, which is about 150 pixels, but that won't center it inside that container. Let's try that anyway. Let's see. I actually haven't tried that. With calc, file, save all, and refresh. Actually, it's not too bad. The problem is it's kind of off. It's 100% now of the available space, and that really throws it off from really want to be centered within it. So what we need to do is subtract some and move it over. So we want to subtract. So if we subtract twice the picture, that's 300. And that's going to put the T at the center point, and we really want the tennis to be in the second point. So we'll go ahead and take out another 100 pixels, and that will move it the width of trident so that tennis will be centered. So let's do that. 400 pixels. File and save all, and then refresh. Much nicer. And you can see it's responsive. It'll just once again the container gets too small, it starts to wrap. And that's good. That's what we want to do actually when it gets to smaller sizes. All right. Well, that was easy. Okay, so next we'll do the section. So let's come in here and we'll do section. I hope you're seeing how much easier Flexbox makes everything, because we have a section with 2 children and we want to display them as flex. And then we'll do file, save all, and refresh. And a mess. So you can see that, look at that, it's way too much over. So let's go ahead and inspect again. And what we want to do is take a look at that aside. You can see the size 114 width. So let's go ahead and let's do width. And let's do 250 pixels. and you can see that nothing happens. And that's because the width is not what we want to mess with. What we want to do is we want to change, and 250 be too much. It's about 114 now, right? So you can see 114. So we want to make it a little bit bigger than that. So instead of doing width, because we don't want to do that, let's refresh out of that. We want to change the child flex of that. So the aside is the child we want to modify. So we'll do section, aside. And what we want to do is we want to give it a flex grow of 0. The 1 is actually the default, which means it'll get bigger and smaller depending on the container. And then we want to do flex shrink. Hello. And we'll do that 0 because we want it to be static. We want the article to grow and shrink, and we don't want this. And then we'll do basis. Oops, flex basis. And that says, well, what size do you want to start at where you're not shrinking and growing? And let's try 180 pixels. I mentioned in the notes that you could do anywhere from 180 to 200. File, save all, and refresh. And there you go. So it's looking a little bit better, but we want to go ahead, and actually I don't really care for that. Didn't we? No, we didn't. See, everything's centered. That's another problem. We need to left align that. And what we want to do is we want to come up here after main because we want to have section article P, and we want a section aside, and we want footer. We want all of those to be text align left. So we do a combination so we don't have to write selectors for each one. File, save all, and refresh. All right, looking a little bit better. The only problem that we have is, see how this is lined up and it's touching everything. So let's go ahead and add some padding to the section, article, and section aside. So we'll do it right here. We'll do section, article, comma, section aside. And we won't want them to have the same padding. So let's do padding 0. Let's do 15 pixels. I think a little bit more might help. Let's do file, save all, and refresh. All right, that's looking pretty good. And as we spring out, it'll come that way. And you can see that it'll be pretty good most of the way. All right. Oops. Is that it? Is that it? I want to do one more thing. Okay, what we want to do is a pseudo selector. And I'm going to do nav, ULLIA, hover. That pseudo selector says when I hover over the A, I want something to change. So we can see that the color is white. So let's do color blue, RGB, and let's do 0, 0, 255. And then we'll do background color. And let's do it this cyan. See how that looks. Yeah, where is it? Okay. All right, let's see how that looks. File, save all, and refresh. Nice. Okay, so when a person comes up, they can see where oh, this is something different besides the thing turning into a hand, and the whole thing is clickable. All right, that's it for this. And now we're on to making the pages.